Hey, Peter Noone was the front man and the lead singer of one of the biggest bands of the 1960s, Herman's Hermits. They had a long string of great #1 hits. He is also a successful solo artist. He's an actor, a songwriter, and he's a producer. And he's still packing them in all over the world, playing those great British invasion hits. I want you to give a huge welcome to a true gentleman and a great talent, Mr. Peter Noone. Yeah. You recognize that song, I bet, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I was singing along in the dressing room to all the songs I played. Cold as ice. I was singing every song.
I can't tell you how totally thrilled I am to have you here. You know, you are one of those guys, you've been doing this for a long time, but you still have fun doing it.
You know, it all started out as fun, and I think the fun element is not so fun right now. But when I was a kid, I lived with my grandparents, and my grandfather was the church organ player, and he played the feet as well, which was like, really, you know, whoa, he can play with his feet as well. And my grandmother was the choir mistress, and when anybody had a funeral, a christening, a baptism, we would all go in the parlour, and we would sing. There was no, television hadn't been created yet in England. So we would go in there, and we learned to sing and have fun, and when somebody was not well, we still sang up songs. You know, and the Irish songs that they sang were kind of sad Irish songs, but we still smiled. You know, there was a lot of joy and fun, and music was 100% for fun. Nobody ever thought that you would make any money. And my grandfather thought I would be good as a musician, and he sent me to the Manchester School of Music, and I would sit there and I was a kid. I was there too early to go to the college. And I would sit there, and every single person was a brilliant, serious musician. You know, they were all Vivaldi-esque and scary. And none of them ever made a nickel in the music business.
Peter, you sold 60 million records.
And 20 billion streams.
That is so amazing. 60 million records, and as you say, billions of streams. And the thing that I find amazing, your songs always, and I loved your music from the time I first heard it, knew all those songs, they were happy songs, they were fun songs.
And simple, and very simple, but they were always happy. And I was just explaining to somebody, we made records to go on right after the BBC News. You know, so if he woke up this morning feeling fine, or there's a kind of hush all over the world, or...
Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter.
Not really.
Oh, okay. Gee, I was sure trying to make conversation there, but that's okay.
I'm Henry VIII, I am.
Dandy, that was a good one, right?
Dandy was a fun song, yeah, that was about me.
A Wonderful World, that works.
Oh, what a wonderful song that was. Jimmy Page on guitar.
He actually was on the record for that.
Yeah, you know, people don't realise that England is a very small country.
Yeah.
And all the musicians and up-and-coming musicians and all the girls who wanted to be around musicians, we all kind of knew each other. It was a very small scene, probably like Nashville, when everybody sees what everybody's doing. And people would show up at the studio, and Mickey Most, not Mickey Mouse.
I was going to say Mickey Mouse, really?
Mickey Most was our producer, and he produced the Animals and Donovan and Lulu and Hot Chocolate, and he'd say, well, and people would come in and say, you got any suggestions? You know, because people would come in, oh, I don't like the hi-hat on that. Have you got any suggestions? And he said, yeah. So we'll go in there and play it. So Jimmy Page would come, and we were doing this Sam Cooke song, a beautiful Sam Cooke called Wonderful World. Don't know much about history. And because we were doing a tribute to Sam Cooke. And Jimmy Page was there, and Eric Burden from the Animals were there, and it just all got made. You know, nobody ever said... And I remember that we paid Jimmy Page as a session man £12, which is like $20.
Wow.
And
what a bargain.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have done it for nothing. Yeah. And I saw Andrew Oldham, who was the Stones manager, and he says, how much did you give him? £12. I said, we gave him £12. They said, well, we only paid him £7.50. The Stones only paid him £7.50. I said, oh, yeah, we got done for the overdub. Because he played it twice. He played it twice. You know, the guitar solo is two guitars.
Peter, you were out there doing this at age 15, right?
I was doing it a lot before then, but I was a persistent little something or other.
Well, I tell you, we all have a great sense of pleasure from just having you here with us. We only have about 30 seconds, so I got to do this in a hurry. But if people don't listen to your Sirius XM radio show every Saturday afternoon, I love it, the 60s channel, one of the best. And one of these days, promise me you'll come back, because I want the audience to hear a story you told me once, and I'm just going to tease it by the telling.
Okay.
Is it true that you were once babysat by Keith Richard of the Rolling Stones?
Well, yeah, he threatened that he would, if I ever did drugs, he would come and beat me up.
We've got to get to the full story of that. All the more reason to have you back. Peter.
Definitely, I'd love to come back.
What a thrill to have you. And by the way, I got to tell you, I've never stopped listening to and loving Peter Noone's great music. If you want to see Herman's Hermits tour schedule, you really should. Visit peternoone.com and follow @PeterNoone on Twitter and Instagram.